We are live there. Let me share my screen really quickly. Alrighty, well, welcome everyone to this month's Wealth Building Wednesday, sponsored by Fifth Third Bank. My name is Tiara Wright. I am the financial coach here at the Urban League of Greater Southwestern Ohio. Today we have a super exciting discussion around building wealth as a business owner. And we have some business owners and community partners from the Cincinnati and Dayton area. We are excited to have you here this month, and we are excited for a wonderful discussion today. Just a few housekeeping things before we get started here, before we jump into the more exciting things. If you could please have your microphone on mute if you are not speaking to eliminate any noise, distractions, or anything in the background. We would also like for you to join us via video as well so that we can see all of your beautiful faces. It just helps engage in the conversation more for a more engaging event. So without further ado, I will go ahead and turn it over to Maria from Fifth Third Bank.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, and welcome to Wealth Building Wednesday, where our topic today will be building wealth through small business ownership. This has been the backbone of this country, and it's important that even more so in the African American community. Our ancestors left a legacy of small business ownership. And we want to teach this generation and encourage this generation and move this generation towards small business ownership as a way to build generational wealth. This partnership was founded a couple of years ago with the Urban League. And we've been talking about topics such as building your credit, paying off student debt, a whole host of topics that are germane to and specific to building wealth. So I want to introduce you to our all-star panel. They are outstanding, amazing leaders in the community. And so I want to, if everyone is in, do I see Annette Tarver and Jill from the African American Chamber? I have also...
Is here. I think Jill is coming.
Oh, hi, Annette. I see you, girl. Welcome.
Thank you so much. We're delighted to be a part of it.
Super. I also have GCMI with Willie on the line, who is the executive director. Willie, are you out there? Say hello to the folks. Okay, you may not have joined as of yet. I have LeVar from the Dayton Minority Business Partnership. LeVar, give us a shout out. Tell us a little bit about the Minority Business Partnership.
Hey, how's everybody doing? Again, my name is LeVar Glover, and Manager of Economic Inclusion with the Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce. We focus on supplier diversity. How can we create connections with our Dayton market and Dayton region to provide supply chain opportunities for our minority, women-owned, and veteran-owned businesses. So supplier diversity, business inclusion, that's what we focus on.
Wonderful. Located in Dayton. Annette, I apologize. I didn't give you the chance to give a little bit about the African American Chamber of Commerce in Cincinnati.
Oh, no problem. We're delighted to share that we are a membership organization advocating for minority-owned businesses in our community. We help people with business and technical assistance. Myself, along with my colleague Jill, are part of a program that we've named Pivot, where we're helping people, survive and thrive in these difficult up and down economic times. The Chamber offers a lot of training, programming. We have opportunities for counseling with SCORE counselors. We do all types of strategic connections for business. We're getting ready to launch our Avenue program, which will provide a gateway to business opportunities. And we're just really delighted to be here.
Well, we're delighted that you're here too. I also have our guest, our media guest from the Cincinnati Herald, who's always supported Fifth Third and the Urban League in these efforts. Walter, you want to give us a shout out? Okay, I'm going to move on to the Urban League. I got some folks from the Urban League. I think there's Utsi and Destiny, and you just met Tierra. Utsi, you want to share with us about the Urban League's small business program?
Good evening. It's great to be here with you, Maria. I'm Utsi Shelton, and I'm with the Economic Empowerment Center, who is under business development and entrepreneurship at the Urban League of Greater Southwestern Ohio. And our mission there is to work with public, private, and nonprofit businesses to build stronger, sustainable, and successful minority businesses. And hopefully with the result of building wealth and job creation and better connection for health in our urban communities. So I am a business advisor with the Economic Empowerment Center. Glad to be here. Thank you, Maria.
Thank you, Utsi. You have experts from our technical assistance providers, but our guests, the stars of the show, are going to be our small businesses themselves. And we have Clemens Construction and Clemcore. Kevin, give us a shout out tonight.
Hi, good afternoon or good evening. My name is Kevin Clemens. I'm the owner of Clemens Inc., which owns a subsidiary of Clemens Construction, and Clemcorp, the construction side kind of speaks for itself. The Clemcorp does cybersecurity for weapon system platforms for the federal government and logistics for weapon system platforms for the federal government.
Wow, very, very, very awesome business. We also have Heritage Heal focused, and that's Brandon. Brandon, will you share with us? You're on mute, brother.
I'm gonna get it together. There we go. I'm gonna get it together. Well, thank you much for the introduction. Hello, everyone, and good evening. My name is Brandon Zehoff, and I founded a company called Heritage Heal. And we're an e-commerce platform that specializes in the manufacturing, distribution, and marketing of apparel and accessories related to Black culture. So we do everything ranging from historically Black colleges and universities, Divine Nine organizations, and we do also a lot of Black empowerment.
Wonderful. I'll be needing that CSU shirt. Yeah. I would also like to introduce you, the owner of Sweet Jazz Treats. Is Sweet Jazz Treats out there? Okay. And we'll move finally to Taylor from Tailored Care. Taylor, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your business.
Hi, everyone. I am Summer Taylor. I am the founder of Tailored Care Home Care Agency. We are a home care agency located inside the Dayton Mall. Not only do we provide home care agency, I also teach nurse aid training as well as CPR. Again, we're located inside the Dayton Mall.
Well, thank you to you all. I am really, really excited that you all could join us. You did see Brandon drop his information in the chat. Feel free to do that. Feel free to take pictures of the chat so that you have the contact information. And then finally, I need y'all to ask questions. And guess what? I have a $50 gift card for someone who has the best interactions. And so we'll be monitoring that. And I want to move right into our panel discussion. And so tonight, we're just going to have a candid conversation, keep it real. And I think the first thing I want to do is pose the question to the special teachers and experts that do this technical assistance provision for small business. And so I want to know, where in your city, Utsi, where do people go for the support for business and business guidance? And it just doesn't have to be the Urban League. What are some of the other Tell us about the Urban League, but also tell us what other resources might be available.
Okay. With the Urban League, they definitely come to us, and we provide services long-term for consulting and coaching and helping businesses with preparation for their business plan and strategic planning, and even some of their financial forecasting. So we're there also to help them. I will say, not just in the Dayton area. Ohio.gov is a great resource for them. But in the Dayton area, we work with the Minority Business Assistance Center, Human Relations Council. They can find help there, but also at the local SBDC that's located, Small Business Development Center, that's located in the hub on Main Street in Dayton. And then also great work going forward at Greater West Dayton Incubator. Those are some resources that are in the Dayton area that provide service along with the Urban League, and we collaborate, and also Launch Dayton. We work with Launch Dayton as well.
Wonderful. So LeVar, did you hear anything that you might want to add to that?
No, I think Utsi covered it all. We have a great ecosystem. Again, collaboration is really important and huge. We're here at the Dayton Chamber, and again, our chamber is a membership organization that serves over 2,200 members in the Dayton region, covering 9 counties. Our vision is to be the most trusted voice in business with business advocacy, business exposure and networking. We have savings programs and economic and workplace development. And so, yes.
Lots of opportunities to get that support and counseling for small businesses in Dayton. But I'm going to go to Cincinnati, pose the same question to GCMI as well as the African American Chamber. Annette, can you share us what's going on at the African American Chamber, and where other places are that folks can go to get support to help their businesses, whether it's a startup or they want to scale? Where can they go in Cincinnati?
Oh, sure. Yeah, happy to. Well, we work very collaboratively with Willie's organization, as well as some other funders in the area, so that people can, and then all of the banking institutions, to help people with things like credit and, building that very important business banking relationship. Right now, there are several opportunities that we're looking at with Hamilton County. There's several large building projects going on, which is why our Avenue program is so important, so that we can direct people to, sustainable economic opportunities like the rebuilding of the Brent Spence Bridge. That's hard to get out, sorry. And also, there's going to be a $500 million, that's $1 million, hotel built in downtown Cincinnati across from the convention center. So we're working closely with that development group to provide opportunities. In addition to that, the Minority Business Assistance Center of Southwest Ohio is housed at the African American Chamber, and they are the resource for certifications for WBE, DBE, and MBE businesses. So they're part of the Ohio Department of Development's ecosystem for support. We work with PTAC. We work with the league, quite a bit. And we also work with SBC, which is a small business consulting group that does all kinds of things, including pro formas, profit and loss statements. They have some legal abilities and some other things. So we're able to, provide full service to businesses and to refer them for things that we don't do in-house, and also to assist them with any applications they might be making to grants and other things.
Outstanding. What a plethora of opportunities that are going on in Cincinnati. Willie, can you join us? Can you tell us a little bit about GCMI and what other opportunities you may want to share with the Cincinnati folks?
Yeah, Thank you, and I apologize having some technical difficulties, but I'll get there too. So GCMI is a full service CDFI. We focus on providing startups and younger businesses, emerging businesses with business development training. We offer entrepreneurship education, which really helps you understand how to think like an entrepreneur and think like a successful entrepreneur. We also offer business coaching and technical assistance, which that consists of really business coaching is really the coordination of technical assistance. So we try to support businesses in different aspects in terms of their needs, ranging from accounting support, business modeling, marketing, IT, point of sale. So we have a variety of support and technical assistance consultants that really are here to really help them answer questions and really help them really be able to have information to make informed decisions about their business. And then we offer, lending. We do micro lending. We're one of the few micro lenders in the area that focuses on lending 35,000 or less. And to support, 70% of my portfolio are startups. So we try to focus on really businesses that have opportunities. We want to try to support growth opportunities and startup opportunities. And then we've had great partnership with the Urban League in terms of being able to provide relief grants. We've been a part of, close to 3 million in relief grants to minority businesses in the greater Cincinnati and in the Dayton market now too. So it's been an exciting time to be able to provide these type of resources. And, we're very happy with our partnership with the Urban League and what they've been able to, provide in terms of support for especially Black-owned businesses, but BIPOC businesses, but especially Black-owned businesses.
Thank you so much, Willie. I was so happy to hear that your partnership with the Urban League has been fruitful. Fifth Third Bank feels the same way. But I heard you say something. You do lending in Dayton as well?
We don't do lending as Dayton right now, but we will soon. So right now, our focus is primarily in the Cincinnati market. But we will be working on trying to do more lending and not in just Cincinnati.
Okay. And for those of you who may not know what a CDFI is, it's a community development financial institution. And many of their partners are banks like Fifth Third Bank. And we will deposit dollars into these programs so that they can get it to you. They tend to be a little closer to startups than we are. They have a little bit of flexibility in their lending guidelines, so that capital is easier to gain or get to. So if you are a business that's trying to get money for your business to grow and you may not be ready for your financial institutions, a CDFI might be the opportunity that you're looking for. There are 4 people on your dream team, small businesses. You need your banker. Build a relationship with your banker. Know them before you need the money. Number 2, you need your attorney so that you make sure that you don't get yourself in a position where you're liable and you destroy your company. Make sure you have insurance. And finally, make sure you have somebody counting your money other than you. The accountant, I call it the dream team. So let's go to the next question. And Robert, I will ask you to prepare a question for the technical assistance providers, but I'm going to talk to the businesses. And the first question I want to talk to the businesses about is, what makes your business unique?
Sure. Okay.
What makes your business unique? And tell me how you researched to open this business. Did you do a market study? How did you do that? Let's start with you, Taylor. You may be talking.
Summer.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, you said Taylor. I'm sorry. So I have been in healthcare. I started off as a STNA and I worked for long-term care facilities. And that's sort of what opened my eyes to healthcare. When I started as a STNA, I wanted to be a nurse and I went to be a nurse. So that's what made me feel like I was better qualified to do home care services as well as teaching. I have over 13 years of experience in this. So when the newer nurses and nurse aides are coming to me for advice, I give them everything I can give them.
And so how did you choose this particular, it's kind of narrow. Did you do a market study, or it was just you getting a
Yes,
gut feeling that this is a service that you need to provide?
Honestly, it was sort of both. When I started Taylor Care, I was a hospice nurse, so I were already doing bedside nursing at the homes. And I found where families would come to me and actually try to hire me privately because they needed to go back to work and they needed to get away from, the deaf or dying or, the disabled family member because, they needed to work, they needed a break, they needed to do whatever. So that's what made me start Taylor Care because it was such healthcare is big. However, there's not enough. There's a lot of people who are born every day and there's a lot of people who are becoming ill and there's not enough home health agencies, to be honest.
That's incredible. It takes a great heart of compassion, and we're living longer. Summer, we're living longer. The population's aging and we're living much longer. And we don't want to go, in many instances, to healthcare facilities. We want to age in place. So kudos to you for having that insight. And I know it's blowing up for you. And that's good news, but because we're all going to age one day. That's the hope. That's the prayer. Kevin, would you share with us the same journey, part of your journey? What makes your business unique, and how much research did you do about your competition, and who was your competition?
What makes my business unique to me is that we had pretty much all our employees are subject matter experts in their field. My background, I started doing network security at NCR back before they left for Atlanta. And then when they left, I ended up at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base doing network security out here, which I found out about the SBA programs, the 8A programs, the Service Disabled Veteran-Owned program. Being a Marine, a retired Marine, I did my research, slowly got in there and saw a niche where subject matter experts on small projects. Of course, I'm competing against like the Raytheons and the Boeings, and then even some of the smaller companies that are my size. But the people that I knew based on just being in the industry for over 30 years, I was able to snatch a couple of those people, go to take their resumes to some of my customers and say, hey, we can do this for a lot cheaper than you can get at these larger companies because our overhead's not as big as a Boeing, Raytheon, or some of the other local companies you guys may or may not know. So that was a niche I saw, that I was able to provide a service, a highly specialized service, again, because we started out in IT, and then that kind of morphed to logistics side, and then that kind of morphed to doing smart buildings with Messer, which then I turned into a construction company by putting project managers on there. So that's pretty much from the beginning to now.
Wow, what an evolution.
Yeah.
Were you able to tap into some, if so, as a retired military, were you able to tap into some of those dollars that the federal government had for military personnel to start businesses?
I did not. That's one of the things. I'm one of the people that got into a business not knowing anything, and it kind of just started organically. I started with the money to file to get the state certification, to buy the name Clemens Inc. And from that, like you said, the banking is a big key. Make sure whatever idea you have or plan you have, write it down, and then have somebody look at it and shoot holes in it, so that way you can plug those holes. And a lot of people are might not understand what you're trying to do, but that's okay. You still need that input from other people to make sure. You want people to shoot holes in your idea so you can plug those holes.
Absolutely. Feedback is the breakfast of champions. I always say that. All right. I want to ask Brandon, tell us about your idea, what makes it unique, and how did you research, and did you research your competition?
I did actually. So we had recognized the big opportunity in the collegiate licensing space. There aren't a lot of Black-owned collegiate licensed companies. So if you look at licensed apparel, for instance, historically Black colleges and universities, this isn't being created by people from the community. So we really wanted to change that at scale too. So our goal was to build a network or ecosystem that allowed vendors, makers, creatives from the community to be able to also produce for the members in their community. So at the moment, that doesn't currently exist. So we're really playing in some blue ocean territory if we can figure this thing out. So I did do a lot of research in terms of what was out there, what existed, what they were doing well, and what they weren't doing well, to see if there were any gaps or opportunities in the marketplace.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you've heard a little bit, everybody that's on the line, about these varied experiences in their journeys. Robert, you're up next to interview.
Sure, I'm going to kick this back to the support organizations, and I'm going to start with Willie here. In terms of someone that's considering starting a business or going down an entrepreneurial path, how important is it to have a plan laid out for yourself? How important is it to have a business plan, and how much detail do you have to think through in order to make it worth your while?
Thank you. So part of the
Willie,
process.
you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? We're good?
Yes, we can.
All right.
We can hear you.
You know, part of the process.
Sure can.
Part of the process of starting a business really is about being able to feel comfortable enough to share your dream and to really get feedback. It was a great point. I think that was LeVar that talked. I think it was LeVar that talked about. No, it wasn't. When you're just talking about, you know, not knowing and being able to start sharing your dream to be able to get a better understanding about how viable the business is. You know, we all push and help people try to write and develop business plans, but really getting a better understanding about your concept, whether or not it's viable, and is the first thing that you need to start with, is to go through that process. You know, who you're solving a problem for, get a better understanding of who you're solving a problem for, and how can you solve that problem. You heard Brandon just talked about HBCUs. Like there's a need there. There's a problem that someone has, and he wanted to see if it was viable enough to fill it. And there's opportunities. You know, we always teach entrepreneurship is everywhere. So, you know, we're all, you know, involved in entrepreneurship. Everything we do, Zoom meetings, and everything you have an entrepreneur created to solve a problem. So going through that process and understanding your concept probably is the first thing that we really push. The business plan is how you're going to go about doing it. And if you can get to that, you know, where you feel like that concept is viable, and then you can start building on the components of the business plan to see how to make it a business. And that is, that's a process that we try to teach. So I try to slow people down, and they automatically want to go and write a business plan when they haven't fleshed out their concept enough. So I believe in business plans. I believe in business models a lot more than I do business plans, because business models, you know, is a visual picture of how you're going to make it work and how can you make it work. And it's a little bit easier to change. But, you know, business plans are important because they help you put some structure in and help you hold yourself accountable in the process. So hopefully that wasn't too long-winded.
No, it was wonderful. I think the difference between a business plan, a business model is very important. I'm going to continue asking the questions. I think Rob is having a real super long delay when he hears and answers. So I will continue to ask the questions. And then I'm going to ask Rob some questions because Rob is from Fifth Third's small business arena, and he has a lot of information on that. And so I ask him a little later some questions about Fifth Third's products and our financing, etc. But so Willie, let's go back to that. Give me 3 points that you think are what makes the business model better than the business plan, because I'm old school. You have to write it in the business plan. So we're smashing that notion and having a paradigm shift to the business model. Talk us a little bit more about that business model process.
Okay. So, the business model usually starts with, the value proposition and who that value proposition is for. So who is it that you are solving that problem for, and why is it important to solve that problem? So, starting there with the value proposition the value that you're creating for that segment is the first part. And I think when you go through that business, and I saw Brandon put in their business model canvas, and you can look that up, and it's great. There's videos and YouTube videos. And there's also a canvas, which is a tool you use to be able to map out your business. So the great thing about business modeling is that it allows you to look at different alternatives to your business quicker, and it allows you to explore it a little bit faster. When you start thinking about the business plan, you're going to have your executive summary, you got your marketing, your serve products and services, and you have all these bigger components. Well, when you're doing a business model, you're actually literally almost just, writing words or drawing pictures, and to be able to show how it could work. And then you start talking through that process. So it allows you to be a lot more flexible, especially early on when you're going through this process. People get caught up in the business plan, and you're going to need one typically when you come to borrow, I'll tell you that. But having a better understanding about your business model and the value that you're creating in terms of your product or service, being able to do that is probably the most key thing to start off with. So, you said the top 3. I'm saying one is being able to understand who you're creating value for, identifying who you're wanting to create value for, and then the flexibility to be able to change that and explore it in the process. Part of what we do as well is to take you through that process. And, maybe, Brandon just said, hey, we're going to HBCUs. Well, maybe he wants to choose high schools. Well, the problem he's solving for high schools is a lot different than he would be solving for the HBCUs. So, and then maybe he wants to go with, corporations. Well, the problem he's solving for corporations is a little bit different. So, but it'll allow him to explore those different avenues to be able to see how valuable or how viable his business idea or concept is.
Absolutely. Love it, love it, love it. I want to ask you, Annette, can you help folks understand the difference between business credit and personal credit and why that is important? You may be on mute, Annette.
Oh, I'm sorry. The difference between business and personal credit?
Yes, what versus it? Why? Because I hear a lot of people say, well, why do they have to look at my personal credit?
Oh, right. Okay. So the basic answer to that is that the best way for people to predict future behavior is past behavior. So what they want to look at is what your responsibilities have been and how you've managed them in past personal situations so that they could make a determination about your bankability. And a lot of banks have, underwriting standards that are, clear and visible, and then some of them are not. Willie's probably a better person to answer this question than I am, but what we're finding is various banking institutions, view credit very differently. We always encourage people to work to get their personal credit rating as high as possible before they begin to establish the business banking relationship, because they they want to know that you've paid your mortgage and you've taken care of all of your obligations, so that generally as a human. And so that's those are some of the factors. Answer better than I can.
Well, thank you. That was a good answer, because you do have to, it's about your character. And banks are in business to make money off of lending, and they want to know if you can pay them back. It's that simple. That's why we look at your personal credit. LeVar, can you talk to me a little bit about what you heard from the street, from people's experiences around how they managed through the pandemic?
I think so. So I fairly new to the chamber, but as I talked to Ms. Belinda Stinson, she talked about how here at the Dayton Chamber, it was a hub for resources, you know, the PPP loan. And so they really serviced a lot of the local entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, and getting that application submitted and really put forth. And so I can't speak to it more than that, but
Okay.
that's, yeah. But just providing the resources, you know, I've been able to help individuals leverage their relationships here at the chamber with all the connections and relationships that the chamber members, you know, provide. And so given access to entrepreneurs, given resources. And so that's what I focus on, and that's what the platform of the chamber provides.
Brandon, talk to us a little bit about how you managed through the pandemic. What did you do?
So I was quite blessed during the pandemic to have a business that was already totally outfitted for online sales. So as a lot of companies started to transition to online business, that was one of our core competencies that helped out a lot. But in that, we needed to do a lot of pivoting in our product offering. So things like masks or PPE equipment started to become something that people wanted to get their hands on. And of course, because we are a society that enjoys fashion, you know, people wanted fashionable masks. So we saw an opportunity to be able to create Afrocentric mask, or a mask that had affirming words on them, you know, masks that fit, you know, what people were wearing, just because wearing a mask was a new thing for people. So they wanted to customize it. So we found some opportunities in pivoting. We also found some unique and different ways to market, which we're still using now. So, you know, the pandemic challenged us to be able to think differently about how we communicated with our customers and what we were selling.
Wow, that is the power of the pivot, that everybody wins. Kevin, tell us a little bit about your experience in during the pandemic.
Well, I was lucky also. We be doing federal contracts. The federal government shuts down. We're all in trouble, so they never shut down. It's one of those things. I thought about it a lot because I had some friends that owned restaurants that kind of went out of business, and small mom and pops that went out of business because they were customer based. And I think of the few times that our business survived, where, you know, in downtimes or where it probably shouldn't have survived. And, you know, kind of one of those things where when you survive it, you go, okay, the business plan or the model held up for that issue. So it has me going for, because of COVID, it has me going forward, looking for another type of COVID or another type of downturn. I remember when I first started, got my very first contract, I had a contract with Bearing Point. It was in 2008. I probably 3 months in, Bearing Point went out of business, and I left my job And now my only contract that I had is no longer there. So, you know, you just have to be pivot, flexible, and creative and trying to stay kind of, I guess, make sure you have it. Well, it's hard to say when you're building resources from the ground, from the start. I mean, your big companies have enough in their war chest to survive it, but for small businesses, I mean, that you really got to wonder if you can pivot or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I imagine that it was a scary time, even if you did have government contracts, because this was something that was unprecedented. We had not been through that before. Summer, how did the home care business, how did you survive?
So Taylor Care suffered at first because we had clients at home and in facilities, and people were shutting us out. They were scared we were going to bring COVID into their homes or facilities. But they were like, absolutely not. You cannot come in. We want to make sure you're COVID vaccinated. Who have you been around, etc. But then that quickly turned around because families needed to get back to work and, you know, to support their families. So it started off bad for us, but then it turned around to be pretty good. And still till this day, we still follow the mandations of wearing masks and gloves and PPE to protect our patients as well as our staff.
Wow, 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 wow. I could imagine that happened. So let me talk to the practitioners again. Utsi.
Ms. Maria, I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yes.
but
Yes.
Jasmine had her hand, she had a hand
And it's
raised.
Jasmine, but I'm asking Jasmine to put their questions in the chat because
Okay.
we're gonna save
Sorry.
all questions to the end. I just sent her I inboxed her. But I want to take the questions at the end so that we can have more time for them to be answered. Because I'm only going to talk to you guys a little bit longer, and then I'll open up the floor. Utsi, can you tell us how acquainted that a business owner needs to be with the word no to succeed? So for me in business, a no is a delayed yes. But how should a small businessman respond or woman respond to a no?
I think when they are told no, they really should use that as fuel to the fire, making them more determined with their business, not to quit, knowing when people tell them no, it even helps them to, how much do they really believe in their business? And if they really have the stick, if they're really willing to stick to it. And no isn't really the end of the road, but I really believe it's the fuel to determine the outcomes for their success. Because we're going to be told no. But I think no and all the sense of it gives us two choices. Either we shrink back or we decide, or our business decides to move forward, and keeping their focus and what the determination is for their plan, that business plan or that model, and realizing that it's going to take time. So you can't control really with that no how others respond to your ideas, but you can control how you face and deal with that no and that rejection. And I think it brings out even maybe some fears in us, and learning how to use self-control and perseverance to be able to continue on. So I think no is a great word for success, because they say no, but you know what you're doing. You know the plan you have, you know, and you've done all your work, your research, and you're ready. You've gotten mentors and people, you've done surveys and all of it. I think it really just helps them to realize that they keep looking at perfecting the details to their product or their service, and eventually that no becomes a yes.
Absolutely. Wonderful. I'd like to ask Annette, what is the best advice that you gave to someone who intends to start a business with a co-owner or a sole proprietorship? What are the first steps for somebody who has an idea and they want to start a business? What should they do?
Well, we recommend, counseling and doing some ideation with one of our counselors or SCORE or someone else, just to try to figure out whether or not the feasibility is there. I do think too, all entrepreneurs are not equal. So there are some people that are very driven, are going to do everything that is recommended to them. But entrepreneurship is a construct. It means people have a really a lot of ownership in what they believe they can accomplish. So I think it's good just to get some counseling and try to have a real reality check. Make sure you're very familiar with the market that you're planning to enter and do that homework. You may be doing something that somebody else is doing bigger, better, stronger, or you may find something that you think you can improve upon by you know introducing a concept, or similar to some of the things that Brandon has done, for example, where you take an opportunity and then turn it into something larger. So I recommend getting counseling, and very big believer in the business plan, but also the marketing plan has to be um, pretty strong. Um, the familiarizing yourself with business financials is critical, so that when you do have an opportunity, if you need to get some financing, you know your numbers and you know what they represent and if they're realistic and that kind of thing. So that's where I say start, and then after that we take people down the legal road where they could get everything set up with the state, and then the various shelter market programs that they can participate in, et cetera. We try to make sure that is a part of what drives the marketing plan as well. So that would be what my take on that.
Great information. Great information. Jasmine, you are the owner of, you're one of our panelists. Please unmute yourself and tell us about your business. And don't tell us too much because I don't need to eat cupcakes today. I'm just kidding. It's the
you are
holiday.
totally. No, I don't eat my own supply either, so it's okay. So my name is Jeff Davis. I am the owner of Sweet Jazz Treats Bakery. I've been in business for about 5 years now. Currently, I also have a dessert food truck as well. And so I have definitely learned a lot these past 5 years in regards to the food industry, especially within the food truck industry, which is still, I'm noticing a lot of people still need help in. And so they contact me a lot in regards to that and how I get started, how I've gotten started. I'm one of the very few dessert food trucks in Cincinnati as well. And currently I'm working in commercial kitchen trying to get my own location. So
what commercial kitchen are you located in?
I'm currently in the Essential Commissary in Laughlin off of Shepherd Drive. It's kind of in the cuffs. You wouldn't even think it was back there because it is in an industrial area. And so I like it so far.
Wonderful. We I think the African American Chamber might be able to assist you in that, finding a location. And in Dayton, we're building our first kitchen. Is modeled after the Findlay Market, and it will be opening in late summer, early fall. So that is a great step to move into your own space where you can gain all the information that you need, build up your capital, build up your own base. And so that when you launch into your own store, you already have your income stream solidly in place. So congratulations. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you. So all of the small businesses, I have this one question before we move to the open mic portion of this. I'd like to know, how did you incorporate social media in your business to drive foot traffic or contracts? And I'll start with Kevin.
Well, I hate to say that I really don't have I have a LinkedIn page, that's about it. But because we actually have to do proposals to go after the work that we're going on that are targeted basically to our needs, we really don't have a social media. That's actually something that I do need to work on. So, we actually do, I have brought a team on it, helping revamp some of our web pages and stuff like that. I don't know if you had a chance to go out and look at the web page, but consolidating, and social media is key to getting us out there, because it's all about who you know, who knows you, and relationship building. So.
Okay, well, and I do want to say and make emphasis that all businesses don't have to have a social media presence. I just did want to know how someone like a defense contractor might use it. And I guess you still need to have something to tell your stories and your victories and all those things, but maybe not as much as Brandon. Brandon, tell us how you use social media to grow your business.
Well, my company was built entirely on social media, so we're probably on the other end of the spectrum. Right now we're spending about $1,000 per day on paid advertising. So we do a lot of impressions on social media. And if I could say anything that's really important when you're thinking about social media is first make sure that your social media accounts are business accounts. This will let Instagram and Facebook specifically know that you're in business, and that the customers who are engaging with your Facebook are potential business customers. So when you start boosting posts or running advertising, the algorithm already is pretty familiar with who your customers are. And then you want to post things that are fit for engagement. You know, even us as an apparel company, most of our posts on social media, and you can follow us at Heritage Hill Co. if you guys want to check us out. Most of our posts are not centered around apparel or fashion. It's really things that drive engagement, because again, you guys got to understand that Facebook and Instagram, they make money with advertisers. So you want to make sure that everything that you're posting is right for engagement. And sometimes posting your own t-shirt or posting things about your business aren't going to be the things that drive the most engagement. So you want to make sure you incorporate things that are relevant or tangential to your business that your customers might be interested in, and then they will post, which will drive further engagement and reach throughout social media.
Give me an example. Give us an example.
So like right now, Thanksgiving is coming up for us. So it's a lot of funny memes that come out around Thanksgiving for Black people, like who's making the mac and cheese, or who's making the sweet potatoes, or who doesn't eat all the meat off their wings. So you can have these kind of things. I see all the smiles happening, right? So this would be something that people would engage with. They would click, they would like, they would share. And as they like, share it, and post it, it's coming from our platform. So now people are saying, oh, Heritage Hill is talking about why your mac and cheese so dry. So then people come back to our platform and see that we're always posting things related to Black people. They go to our website and say, oh, wow, by the way, we're selling gear that's related to affirming Black people as well. So that's kind of just how you should be thinking about creating a funnel and how to be able to push people through like whatever your sales funnel is via social media.
That's brilliant. Love, love, love it. What I will ask you, do you have a social media manager to do that, or do you do that? You have the bandwidth to do that yourself? Because
so
a lot
I
of
started
companies
off,
don't.
Yeah, I started off doing it myself at first. And then once I got an idea of what worked and what didn't work, then we were able to templify. And that probably goes into some of those processes and systems when we think about business modeling, when Willie was talking. But yeah, we have a system now that says, hey, you know, we're going to post this on this day. We try to post this many times in a week. So yeah, now I can outsource that once you templify it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm looking at you on LinkedIn, so yeah, I hit you up. Let me ask you, Summer, how do you use social media to grow your business, or do you use social media?
I do. I'm trying to get a little better about it, but people love authentication. So I try to make anything we do on social media fun. You know, I'm putting in healthcare and my CPR and my CNA classes in it, but I'm trying to make it funny. There was a little old man that everyone was doing on TikTok where they were like dancing with him, and I had reposted it, and I had put like when a patient figures out that Taylor Care is affordable, and that honestly so many views because this little man was just doing all this dancing. Now Taylor Care get 20,000 views with every single post. However, every time people are saying, hey, I have seen you on social media, or I have seen, so you do need to build your audience on social media. You don't have to be completely involved if that's not what your business is, but I try to make it funny so that people do engage in Taylor Care. Plus, I'm still
Okay.
being
Yeah, yeah. Jasmine, do you use social media?
Hi, yes, social media actually helped me build my business from the ground up. So I posted all the time when I first started in business by advertising my designs of my cakes or my cupcakes and everything like that. Social media was on Facebook or Instagram actually helped me grow so much to where my followers or people who knew me 5 years ago all the way to now has seen my growth. And they also have seen my stories. So I try to make sure, well, in the beginning, I used social media, but I didn't want to use it to the point to where that was the only thing people knew me from. And so I tried to sure that people knew me personally. So I also try to incorporate them knowing my story of why I started my business. And I think that has helped me gain followers too, to be more realistic and be honest that, you know, entrepreneurship or being a business owner is not always easy and everything like that. So, but yeah.
I love it. Social media that informs around the why. I just love so far what we've done. We're almost at 6:30 and I want to make sure that I don't ignore questions in the chat. And so Jasmine, you were going to ask us a question. Did you get your question answered? Let's ask the question.
Well, it was the question on how did you, I think it was about shifting during the pandemic. Question has pandemic actually helped me continue to grow my business. And so it showed me how to shift my mindset set and also shift my thinking as a business owner. So we're so used to in the food industry, customers coming to us. And so I had to learn how to go to my customers. So I will offer cupcake sales on certain days of the week. And then I would actually say, hey, I'm going to be in this area. Send me your address. Send me what cupcakes you want. And I actually learned how to ship by delivering. So every week during the pandemic, I had a different area I would hit up, whether it was Mason, Forest Park, Springdale. And so that kind of actually helped me grow my business as well, because I learned how to say, hey, I'm not going to let this stop me, even though it's a pandemic, but I'm going to make sure you get your sweet tooth fixed. And I'm going to bring cupcakes to your doorbell or your door, ring the doorbell and run and say hello. And so, yeah, with that, the pandemic actually helped me grow my business tremendously.
And you know, that is a theme that I keep hearing from everyone. While they had to pivot, they grew immensely personally. And so before I start taking this, any questions from the chat, and Tiara, I would love to take some questions from Facebook. I want you to think about this question and answer it. And that question is for each one of you, the technical assistance providers and the small businesses. What did you learn about yourself during this time? And so Tiara, do you have any questions from Facebook?
I do not have any questions from Facebook right now.
Okay, and I am looking in the chat and I do not have any here. So I'm going to continue to ask questions, but I'm not going to ask that last question because I want us to close out with that. So
I see, sorry, Maria. I see one question in the chat from Kathy Hale. I'm not sure exactly who she was speaking with. I'm assuming this may go to LeVar, but correct me if I'm wrong, Kathy. The question is, how much does the membership cost? Is there a monthly fee or is it a yearly fee?
So Kathy, if you're on if you're still here, can you clarify who you were specifically thinking about? And I'm looking for Kathy. Yes, she's here.
She's here.
I was basically talking about the different programs that they said, and they was basically talking about memberships. And I wanted to know, did you have to pay to be subscribed to those memberships, or is just for people that's, you know, in that area, or is it specific people that they targeting?
Well, I'm gonna let the service providers answer that. Utsi, you can start. Is it cost for a membership?
We don't have a membership cost for the services we have at the Urban League under Business Development Entrepreneurship. Now, for those, I will go to this. We do, one of our legs under our BD and E is the women's certification with WeBank, Ohio River Valley, which is a regional organization made up of over 1,062 women that are women-owned businesses. So that is an opportunity to get your certification and also network with women from manufacturers to bakers, to be able to get networking and actually do some training as well. The great thing about that certification for women, and there is a cost to that, is that it allows you to peer-to-peer training and mentorship from a female perspective. So we do have a membership with the women's certification, right? And we do a scholarship. If it's your first time wanting to be a part and you have all your paperwork in order to get the certification, we do a scholarship for that business. Gives you an opportunity to do the training and the education to and network to get a feel for how it will advance your business. And it's on a scale based on your revenue of each year. And so there is a cost, and I can drop that website in the chat for any female businesses that are on here and interested. But all our other services, workshops and things of that nature, there is no cost at this time.
Let's see, there's a question. She wants to know, what certification are you talking about?
I'm talking about a women business enterprise certification for, we get minority certifications that help businesses to be able to get on procurement lists that they can begin to expand their business with opportunities. You heard Kevin talking about from the construction, he's into government contracts. So you have to have specific certifications for some companies and corporations in order for them to even consider you to do business with them. So there's a minority certification that there's different opportunities for minority-owned businesses. And those certifications, you can talk with your Small Business Development Center and also with Minority Business Assistance Center as far as knowing about those certifications. But I'm talking about a women's certification with over 1,000 women, and a certification that even if there's a contract, say with a product that you're doing with a particular corporation has, and they're looking for a minority company that's woman-owned. You may have a great product, you may be able to meet the feel of what they're looking for, but if you don't have that state certification, that's part of their spend goal for their corporation, then you wouldn't be considered. So it helps you to open doors for greater opportunities for your business to grow. So I'm talking about a women's certification. Some men may say, I'd like to get that, but it's only for women.
And there is also minority business certification. And I think there's a veterans certification as well. And generally in your town, whether you're in Cincinnati or Dayton, there are agencies, and if someone could put that in the chat, there are agencies that offer those certifications. Willie, does GCMI have a membership, or are those services free?
Nothing in life is free. I'm joking. No, we do not have a membership. So our services are, there is our TA services, it's pretty much free. but our business development training, there we use a sliding scale because our focus is to focus on low to moderate income individuals. So we use a sliding scale. So based on your household income, you would pay a certain dollar amount to be able to take our classes and training. But I'm gonna put in the chat.
Willie went on mute.
My bad, my bad.
There you go.
That lincolnandgilbert.com, if you go there, is a great partnership with all of the small business service providers here in Cincinnati. You know, the African American Chamber, Mortar, GCMI, Lightship Foundation, Minority Business Accelerator, the SBDC at the Urban League, and the SBDC. So this partnership is great because we have resources to be able to help and provide technical assistance and help with some of that consultation help that you might need, and possibly for some of the services that you might need. And you know, I think it's important that if you reach out, the great part about the initiative too is that if you're reaching out to one of us, you're going to be able to touch base with all of us on some level. So if you're reaching out to one, and you know, we focus on startups and younger businesses, but you know, if we see that you might need and benefit from talking to someone at African American Chamber, we'll send you that way. All of us, we don't have any hesitation about referring because it's about resources for our businesses and being able to provide resources to our businesses. So, you know, you might talk to several of us, possibly, but the goal is to try to streamline that and then trying to help you in the space that you need help with. Based on based on that initial interview or discussions that you might have coming in the door. So go check out the website, and you'll see that there were some grant offerings that we did this past year, and then we'll be doing some next year as well. Again, these are smaller grants. I think I saw a question in there for $35,000 grant. I think everybody be looking for a $35,000 grant. But what we offer is loans for up to $35,000. So, but the grants were typically in the $2,500 to $15,000 range. So they're a great opportunity, but the technical assistance comes with that, which is an important piece, just to sit down and really talk with someone. I'm gonna give you one stat and I'll move on, but one of the things that, we did a survey and took the survey. One of the things that I'm using this now because it kind of shocked me that, that over 60% of the businesses that received a grant had not talked to someone, an advisor or someone in their business for almost 2 years. And I thought, wow, right? Going through a pandemic, going through this process, and you didn't have, there's businesses didn't really sit down and talk with someone or didn't have that type of advisor. And I think that is that's what, what we're here for, is to be able to help provide information and support to help you make informed decisions. So.
Absolutely. Well stated. LeVar,
Yes.
membership?
Yeah. Just to piggyback on what Utsi and Willie shared about, the Chamber is a membership-based organization. Our starting initial membership fee is about $500 for the year. And then it goes up from there depending on how many employees you have, or, what type of programming you want. But we do have a number of programs and services that doesn't require membership status. However, it may require you to pay a fee for that particular program. But as Willie and Utsi mentioned, I champion myself on being a liaison, a point person, if you are in the initial phase of your business, to be able to point you in the right direction and the right resource. Launch Dayton is a great resource here in the Dayton community, and has a variety of ecosystem partners. Our Early Risers Academy with Parallax is a great program. If you're starting out. Greater West Dayton Incubator is a fantastic program as well. But again, you know, your chamber can be intimidating to some, and it's not for every entrepreneur or every business owner starting out. So, but however, if I can be that liaison, that point person to a resource, I'll definitely offer that. So, yeah.
That's what I really love about both of these cities' small business ecosystems. They work together, and no matter where you walk, what door you walk into, they'll be able to refer you based upon where you are and what you need. And that, does the African American Chamber have in Cincinnati have a membership fee?
Yes, we do. I'm going to bounce it over to my colleague, Jill McCauley. Jill, can you answer that question for what the fees are and how we're structured? I thought she was there. Okay. I think she's driving. Sorry. Yes, the membership in the African American Chamber is $300 annually for individuals and businesses. However, our consulting services in the Pivot program, technical assistance, and business counseling is free and open to the public. So anybody can come and participate in that. We're part of Lincoln and Gilbert as well. And to Willie's point, I think most of our very successful businesses have gone to all of us. They've been to the Urban League, they've been to the Ohio River Valley, they've been to Willie, they've been to, just about every place. So we encourage people to go and see and talk and, do as much as you can in terms of taking advantage of the ecosystem, because I think it is very robust and there's a lot of talent and institutional knowledge, and people can be very helpful to you. But those are our fees. And we have a membership director. If you want to contact me, I did put my appointment calendar in the chat. We can set you up with someone to discuss membership or any of the other services that we have.
Thank you, Annette.
However, I would like to add, with membership, there's a number of member savings programs, in terms of health insurance or energy or payment processing, office supplies, workers' comp. And so with that membership, you also get some kickbacks as well. So just wanted to offer that. I will put my.
Well, that's outstanding. That's outstanding, because small businesses, they have challenges in getting insurance for their workers. And so by joining a chamber, having access to that could mean the world for scaling your business. So thank you for sharing that, LeVar. I posed a question to you all, and I want each and every one of you all to answer it, because both sides of the desk had different experiences, and our audience may want to hear both. But the question is, what have you learned about yourself? And I'm altering it a little bit. What have you learned about yourself when you had to pivot during the pandemic? This is our last question, and I want everybody to weigh in. And I'm going to just pick somebody, and I'm going to start with you, Jasmine. What did you learn about yourself?
Sorry, I had to unmute. So, one thing that I did learn about myself as a business owner was, or just personally, is I'm stronger than what I thought I was. And the reason I say that is because going into entrepreneurship is foreign to people. People are used to a straight 9-to-5 job, a job with benefits, a job that is more guaranteed financially. My family thought I was crazy when I left my good high-paying job and started my own business. And I always say, for me, my business started off from pain to passion. And so my vision, what God gave me, was not for everybody to see or to understand. And so for me, starting my business looked like, from the ground up, just grinding. There was no plan B. There was only a plan A. And so with that plan A, it motivated me to continue to grow, continue to push, show my family that it is possible. You may not see where I'm going, but I know where I'm going, and God knows where I'm going, but just stay on the journey and watch. And so that's kind of where I am at when it comes to my business. And it also showed me that, you know, people may not understand, but as long as you have a plan, a focus, and a vision, and you keep prayer and God in that vision, then you will succeed more than what you ever thought you could succeed in. And that has been my main focus since I started my business. And it continues to drive me every day. So.
Wow, 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 wow. Well, I'm a woman of faith, and so all I can say to that is amen. Annette, share with us what you learned about yourself on the other side of the desk during the pandemic. And you might be muted. Okay, well, I'll go to the next one. Kevin, can you tell us what you learned about yourself during the pandemic and how you managed it with your business?
Well, it's just one of those things where you just life skills, you know, like I said, coming from the Marine Corps is adapt and overcome type of mentality, and just going back to those things that you learned in the past. Life skills are just as important in business, and just having some things to draw on to get you through some of the tough times, and try to think clearly. That's kind of always been like that. But like I said, in a situation like not knowing what the next day was going to go, was the government going to shut down, just kind of looking at the overall, you know, everything, and trying to make a decision of what your next move is going to be, if this happens, or if this happens, or if this happens. So I guess what I'm saying and boil it down is my planning skills are a lot better than I thought they would be.
Awesome, awesome. Summer, what have you learned about yourself?
Ooh, I don't even know what I can name. No kidding. So prior to the pandemic and Taylor Care, I were already a nurse, so I had the skill of critical thinking. But opening up Taylor Care and during the pandemic, it was now a bigger horizon of now you're the owner, and I had employees who were depending on me of, are we going to be shut down? Are we going to be paid? Are we going to this and that? And I had already been a critical thinker before, but this one definitely showed me how strong I am. I had to really navigate and put on my boots and be like, all right, guys, we're going to do this. I worked as an aide for 102 days on top of working in the office and home care. So I learned also that I needed to always stay teachable. You know, in healthcare, you learn something different every day. Right now, I'm working on my master's degree in education, and when I'm writing the papers, it's all about you know, educating your nursing students or your patients. And during this pandemic, I just pretty much have learned that I have to stay teachable. You know, in order for me to be in healthcare, like I said before, there's people being born every day and there's people becoming ill. So I have to stay, you know, in front of everything.
Wow, 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 wow. Utsi, tell us from the other side of the desk, what did you learn about yourself and how'd you manage during this pandemic?
I think my story is going to be a little bit different than everyone else's, because as soon as the pandemic hit, I had COVID. So for the first 6 months, I was out, but I was back in school. I wasn't even working on this side of the desk at the time. And the thing I learned about myself was to be innovative and taking the skills that I had to be able to work online in some areas to help some businesses that needed assistance. And from that point, but that's what I learned. I learned to be innovative and to use all of my God-given abilities and skills. Because actually, I came back on this side of the desk right after the pandemic was over.
Wow, wow. Brandon.
You know what? Entrepreneurship, and especially through the pandemic, it taught me to trust my decision-making ability, and to really trust the intuition that I have, or my gut feeling more, and not try to be so rational and logical in things. Because like in this entrepreneurship game, kind of to echo some of Jasmine's points, is there there isn't like a way or recipe. Often many of us have a dream and we see an opportunity, and sometimes people just don't see it the way that we see it. You know, we have the lens and the foresight and even the grit and determination to pursue it. And sometimes you just got to trust that and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to see this through. Ain't no plan B. Like Jasmine said, this is plan A, and I'm going to do my best to be able to have that happen. And I've learned to trust that, to be able to know that I can have faith in that, and to be confident in that, in my decision-making ability.
That's wonderful. That is absolutely wonderful. I want to ask LeVar, what did you learn about you?
That I'm miserable without connection and engagement. If you know me, you know that I'm a handshaker. I like to handshake and kiss babies and give hugs and the whole nine. And so I'm an extreme extrovert. I feed off the energy of people, connection. And so I was miserable during COVID. However, over the last 10 months, I've been able to ramp up some outreach initiatives here with the chamber. And I've learned that people do business with people they know, they trust, and they're comfortable with. So
Okay.
I've been able to advocate for that.
Well, we only have about 7 minutes left, and I saw that our fearless leader, Roy Sutton, has joined us. So we're gonna go on and do the wrap up. And I just wanna say to please take a screenshot of this next slide. It's all of the presenters, the businesses, as well as the professionals, the experts that help them, and you can be sure to reach out to them. Fifth Third Bank is so excited that you joined us, and we want you to call on us for your financial needs. But before we go, I want us to hear from Roy Sutton, the Senior Vice President for Community and Economic Development for the Central Region, which covers Ohio and Kentucky. Thanks for joining us, Royce.
Absolutely, Maria. And for all of our partners who are on this call, we're indebted to you with this wisdom that you have shared on this call. So the idea of maybe if you guys want to give the little applause thing we got down at the bottom, want to give applause for those who are on this call and sharing all this wisdom, this insight, who were actively telling anyone on this call that you can just pick up the phone and call any one of these organizations and any one of these business leaders with what they have learned and what they have picked up along the way. I'm sure they are absolutely open to any advice that they can share with any budding entrepreneur out there. You know, we have a lot of people on this call this evening. This is just the beginning of your journey. This is just the start of what will take you to the next level, but don't feel like you're in it by yourself. I think you've heard that loud and clear in this conversation. You've got resources, you've got supporters, you've got wisdom that's out there that can help propel you to the next level. Don't do this by yourself. Don't do it by yourself, because there are so many cautionary tales, as you've heard here on this call, that you can avoid certain situations. The other part of it too, I just want to make sure that you understand, we have these conversations once a month called Wealth Building Wednesday. And we're looking toward 2023. If you like what you heard in this call today, let us know. You can put something in the chat. You can reach out to us, but let us know if this is something that resonates with you, something that's helpful for you. And we'll look at our calendar for 2023, and we'll be sure to re-engage this discussion on small business development and how this can lead toward wealth for entrepreneurs in this space who have this passion. So the other part of it too, I want to say a big thank you to our host and moderator, Mario Rutherford Long. You did a fantastic job. Like what you might have some Oprah in you, but great job on your end. Tiara, thank you for your partnership. This has been a fantastic year and you've made it really special for us. And so with that said, again, thank you for joining us in this conversation. And Mario will move into the next part, which is the giveaway portion.
And yes, we have a winner, and that winner tonight is Janet Grundy. Janet, thank you for being engaged. You will win a $50 MasterCard gift card. You will give that your information to Tiara, and we'll get that mailed out to you in the next couple of days.
That's amazing. Thank you.
You're so very welcome. You're so very welcome. I want to say before I turn it over to Tiara, who will close us out, I want to just say how grateful I am for each and every one of you. Many of you I know personally, and some of you I've just met, but I honor each and every one of you for the sacrifice that you give every day on the front line in the small business ecosystem. I want you to have a safe and happy holiday. Whatever you call that, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all of those things. I want you to get some rest because you all grind. So take the time to be with your loved ones and take good care of yourself. Tiara, last words for you.
All righty. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. The partners that were on, community partners, the businesses that are on as well. Thank you so much for being here. As a reminder, it is Entrepreneurs Month, so definitely support an entrepreneur that you know. Also, November 26th is Small Business Saturday, so make sure you are looking up those small businesses on Facebook and supporting them in any way that you should see fit. Look forward to more things from the Urban League and Fifth Third. Not this year, this is our last one this year, but we will be doing some exciting things such as this in the new year. But again, thank you guys for being here, and I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Walter.
Thank you, Walter.